You told me that this stabbing was going to get you temporary control over Gary Border's financial assets and that you were going to sell them to me at fire sale costs, in exchange for which I would get the FBI off your ass.
Well, I held up my end of the bargain.
Oh, did you? Do I have Gary's holdings? I do not.
That's not my fault.
Whose fault is it?
Okay, folks, so we finally have semi-confirmation. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, the conversation between Marie and Hudson doesn't prove that they were the ones who stabbed Gary. I don't think Marie did it, and I don't think Hudson necessarily did it. I will say that they were the ones who put the plan into motion. Now, let's break it down. Okay, so Marie made it clear that she was upset that Hudson had the audacity to come to her hotel room because no one is supposed to see him there, and no one is supposed to even know they know each other. So the plan, and Marie broke it down, Gary Borders was supposed to be put out of commission. You gain power of attorney. Then I purchased Gary's assets from you for a great sale. And then I get the feds off your behind. And this tracks back to season 7 when the feds started investigating Gary's hedge fund company, which it in turn extended over to the law firm, because in season 5, that's when Gary and Hayden put together a plan to merge, well, not merge, but both businesses would go into business together. And it was all a plan to get Robin pushed out. So from there, that's why the feds investigated the law firm, and that's when Leland started going in on Andy before he died in front of her, leaving the managing partner position open. But in any case, that kind of fell to the back. That was kind of messed up because in season 7, it was a big deal when it first started, but it never really was brought up again, the FBI investigation, until, a few episodes later when Zach was trying to get his money back from Gary, but he's like, oh yeah, my assets are frozen, I can't give it to you. So that's why Agent Watt came into the picture, because Penelope and Andy were all working together to bring Gary down. And by extension of being like the right-hand man, Hudson was also under investigation too. And keep in mind, that's what made the whole aspect of the stabbing kind of weird, because you got Gary getting stabbed and then you got Agent Watt. The concern shifted from taking Gary down to figuring out who stabbed him, which in a way kind of makes sense, because when your number one witness, Andy, all of a sudden got back together with the man she's supposed to help bring down and was on the verge of marrying him until the stabbing, it looked shady. But now that I guess over a month has passed, now the feds are back to getting on the trail of, okay, we got to figure this out, like Gary's shady dealings and whatnot. So this was a win-win for Hudson, where if he was able to succeed with power of attorney, then he could sell Gary's assets to Marie and her company, and then Marie would use her connections to get the feds off of Hudson, and he'd be a free man with some money in his pocket. But the problem is, this doesn't exactly explain who did the stabbing. Now, this could have been a plan that had been in the making since the beginning of season 7. When I think back to when Marie was invited to Gary's office to talk to him about, warning her about Andy Barnes, but she pretty much clocked him, saying that I did my research and I know you're the one who, approached her despite the fact that you were married. So don't act like Andrea Barnes is the villain here when you're just being petty and you need to get over yourself. This could have been something that started as early as mid-season 7, or this could have been a plan that Marie concocted in the season 7 finale, because remember, that's when Marie talked to Andy and Andy mentioned why she was upset, and then Marie said, don't worry about it, I'll handle it. So in off-screen land, she probably could have contacted Hudson, realizing his character is that of a slimeball and an opportunist, and given his circumstances with the feds, he would be an easy pawn to mold into what she needed. Someone who would work for her to take out Gary and benefit herself in the long run. And some people even extended it to, hey, remember that she said she was one of the first investors in Gary's hedge funds company, but he ended up screwing around and, losing her money. So in a way, her gaining access to his assets would be a way of getting that money back and then some. So my original theory back in August was, oh, if Marie did something, maybe she used her connections to get Jasmine out of jail, and then that led to, her doing the stabbing. But I don't know if that's exactly how it's going to play out. Now, Hudson, he wouldn't have had power of attorney until after the stabbing took place and Gary was out of commission. But Gary even says, like, there's no way I would have willingly gave that, guy power of attorney. So what's up with that? I have no idea. And I think that a woman did the stabbing, as Gary said a woman did. It was probably Jasmine, but yeah, I don't really know. But either way, Hayden had sex with Marie in the episode before last to get the judge to let go of power of attorney to give it back to Gary. But obviously this was against Marie's plan, so he had sex with her for nothing. But then a month later, he told Gary he had a private investigator for the law firm, probably the same one that Robin had following around Andy, then the same one that got those photos of Fatima confronting Gary. Yikes. But he got the PI to get photos of the judge's grandson at some sort of like sex club or whatever. And as a result, that was the leverage needed to lift power of attorney and give it back to Gary. So because of that, Hudson is screwed and Marie is leaving him out to dry, which begs the question of, if Hudson had power of attorney, why didn't he just sell it to Gary during the month time jump? Was the plan Gary being dead? Because then that could lead to, okay, Hudson was the person who came into the room disguised and tampered with the IV to, put in the fentanyl-laced cocaine to kill him, but it didn't work. So it's like, what if Hudson came into the room and saw, Jordan trying to kill Gary? Why didn't he just let him do it? A lot of things need to be answered, because even though we have motive and we have new information, yet again, we are getting close to the freaking finale. And despite us finally getting more information, we are yet again left with more questions than answers. So, holy crap. But let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Now, given, Marie revealing this side of her character, a lot of people are nervous. I can't believe it, but a lot of people are nervous for Pam and Karen, where it's like, I don't know what they want to be doing business with Miss Marie. Like, she's definitely cutthroat. And at some point, how do we know she won't try to do something like this to Roots to Riches once it blows up? So let's talk about it now, because this is definitely a situation where we need to see how things are going to play out, because Hudson obviously is being looked at suspect by Hayden and Gary in the following episode, or this week's episode, because it's like, there's no way I would have willingly gave him power of attorney. And then he walks into the room, he's like, oh, my ears burning, welcome back, boss. And then he and Gary and Hayden are like, Gary does have a moment in the trailer where he's like, wait, you're the one who stabbed me, wasn't it? So we'll have to wait and see, folks. But hey, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.